Well, good morning. Today we are joined by my friend Dale Libby. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Dale. Of all the different people who I have on, I get excited about all of them. But knowing the work that you've done truly inspires me and makes me want to be the best caregiver that I can be. So thank you for all you do. You moved to Lake Jackson in 2002 with Dow.
Yes.
As a Dow job. You started working or volunteering at the Gathering Place in 2014.
Right.
Now, what precipitated? Now, I know about Joyce. Your wife is Joyce, and she had early onset dementia. Had she already developed dementia at 2014, or?
Oh yeah.
Oh, she had. Okay,
Oh,
when
yeah.
did she develop it?
Well, honestly, the first thing that happened was in 2005, which was just something that happened, and I had no clue what was going on. I mean, it was just crazy. Okay. And it only lasted about a half hour, and then it was over with, and we just moved on. We were actually on the way to the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky, when that happened. And I never thought anything more about it. I mean, my goodness, we were only 51 years old. And then later on, things started getting a little strange, memory issues and things like that, until finally, I think it was Christmas of 2008. We were visiting my daughter and her family in Terrell, Texas, wonderful place. And my daughter said to me, "Dad, are you going to do something for Mom, or are you just going to let her go crazy?"
Wow.
So that kind of started it, and it took us until 2011 to actually get her diagnosis at Baylor College of Medicine. It just took that long. We went through one neurologist who was a quack before we got to Baylor, and so then we got the diagnosis in 2011, and she had full blown Alzheimer's.
Wow.
And it's interesting that the doctor. I mean, honestly, this is a little bit of a hard story. But we were sitting there, and the doctors, and she came in, Dr. Duty, who doesn't work there anymore, but had been at Baylor for 35 years or something like that. She was the smartest one in the bunch up there in the whole business. She was in charge of everything. She came in, and she sat down beside us, and she opened up the folder, and she looked down this piece of paper, and she closed the folder, and she looked at my wife, and she said, "Well, you can thank your mom and dad for this."
Oh, wow. Wow.
So we're both, I'm looking at her, and what's that, Well, anyway, it turns out, and everybody has this, on chromosome 19, everybody has what's called an APOE gene. You have two of them. Most people have an E3. There's E2s, there's E3s, and there's E4s. And most people have an E3, which is just there, and it does whatever it does. But if you have an E4, that is a hallmark and a risk factor that's been determined for Alzheimer's. And my wife had two of them, which means she got one from her mom and she got one from her dad. Okay? And so her mother died at 51 of liver cancer, so she never got Alzheimer's, but her dad lived long enough and he got it.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
So, anyway, so that's, what we found out. And so, yeah. So anyway, that's how we found that out. So that was in 2011. We were already here. And I never really asked Brenda Moss, our founder, how she found me, but somehow or another she found me and invited me to come and speak at her town hall meeting she had in June of 2012 at Commissioner's Court.
Okay.
And I told my story there. So that's how I got involved. So then I was still working at Dow. I didn't retire until January of 2013, and I used some of your people to take care of Joyce during that time, and then even after I retired. So that's how, it took till 2014 to actually start volunteering with the organization. So.
Well, thanks for sharing your story. It touches me every time. I know it touches you every time, and it always will. It's kind of like right now, I just want to go off script of everything that I thought I was going to talk about today, but I want to talk about E3 and E4. Mm-hmm. Are these things that I can go get checked for now?
Yeah.
And let's say I have it. Mm-hmm. So then what?
Mm-hmm. Well,
what do I do?
I'm going to talk about that.
Okay.
It's because it turns out I have one of those E4 genes that I got from my mom.
And what are you going to, I'm just going off script now. Let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about it.
Yeah.
I got so much, we already talked about some of the things we're going to talk about, but I want to talk about this. What, I go in, I get tested, and I'm like you. I've got one. Maybe I've got both. Is there anything I can do at 57 years old to try to slow this down?
Yeah, and
Let's talk about that.
Those are the programs that we do at the Gathering Place, because it turns out that Alzheimer's symptoms are largely preventable and treatable.
Okay.
Symptoms, not the disease.
Right.
Symptoms. Okay, and it's all about lowering your risk factors for it.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what we teach. So just as a little bit of background, I guess, what we do really came from some studies. Okay, and the first one was the Nun study. Short title of it is "Aging with Grace" by David Snowden from the 80s. Okay, and they studied the nuns at this convent for 30 plus years. In fact, I think they're still studying them. And what happened was his study revealed that upon their death and a brain autopsy, everybody who wanted to be in it needed to sign a paper saying they were going to do a brain autopsy. Okay. What they found was that many of the nuns who had been successfully teaching students throughout all their years, and some of these ladies were 100 years old, okay, never had any symptoms of Alzheimer's, but when they opened their brain up, they had advanced plaques and tangles everywhere, okay, everywhere. And my wife's I had a brain autopsy on her, and it was a complete mess, just total, okay? So they discovered that, and so what's going on here? Okay, so then in the 90s, another fellow named Bruce McEwen, he proved that stress atrophies portions of your brain, okay, but that the effects were not always permanent, okay, and so he discovered that something called plasticity, okay, that your brain can actually regrow neurons and adapt to things that are going on, okay. And then the third study that we use that's the basis of all of our work, was from the 90s again. Dr. Yakov Stern, he formulated something called the theory of cognitive reserve. Okay. Okay, and that's that a person can bank extra neurons to provide resilience against Alzheimer's. Right. Okay, so those are the three studies that are basically were done that Brenda put together when she found, because she does research all the time, and put together our first brain camp, okay, right, where we teach adults how to build their cognitive reserve, and it's all about lowering risk factors. Yes. Okay, and so two things. First off, lowering the risk factors may prevent or delay the onset of Alzheimer's symptoms, but also lowering the risk factors is also a treatment that may slow the progression of Alzheimer's. Okay, and Dr. Paul Schultz from Houston Methodist, who speaks at many of our conferences, right. That's a quote from him. Yeah. Okay, and he's talked about that. So, just so you know, that's why I brought this paper, so I can remember these. It's the thing you need to know. There are what we call the big 8. So there are 8 major risk factors that you need to reduce.
Okay.
That you need to treat, you need to be on top of. Okay.
Okay.
The first one is physical inactivity.
Right.
Okay, so you need to be active. Okay, you need to exercise. You don't have to build a 6-pack. You need to
Right.
walk all the
You
time.
need to
know?
walk.
Yeah.
Walking is one of the most important
That's
things that
right.
I've seen. You can walking just 5 minutes a day
Mm-hmm.
can have a 70% decline in these symptoms. 70. So if you walk an hour,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's amazing. But you don't need to walk an hour. You can walk 5 minutes. So
Right.
inactivity is a killer.
Inactivity is a
Yes, sir.
killer. Midlife hypertension.
Yes.
Remember we talked about stress?
Yes.
Okay, so stress is not good for you.
Right.
Cortisol is not your friend.
Yes.
Okay. Smoking. If you smoke, you really need to stop. That is, I mean, the things that are heart healthy for you are brain healthy for you.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So let me ask you about smoking.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, I don't feel like smoking is what it was in the 70s and 80s, but now people are doing the vaping.
And that's not good for you.
It's not good for you either. And I think people need to start to correlate those two together.
Mm-hmm.
But we definitely know that smoking is not good for you. But people need to understand that this vaping isn't a safe alternative.
No. It's got its own poison.
Yes.
Number 4 is low education.
Okay.
Okay, so people that are more educated have built up things that can hold it off. Okay.
So if you're not educated, you're not going to go back to school. Reading
Oh yeah.
is a huge, it just opens your brain. It gets those neurons growing and building, and people don't realize
Yeah.
that's what happens.
Yeah. Well, we call that learning something new every day.
Yeah, amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Okay. Midlife obesity
Yes.
is not good for you.
I feel like you're talking about me and all of
I'm
these.
not looking at you. I'm not looking at you. Depression.
Yes.
Okay. Depression is another one. Hearing loss, believe it or not, it's one of the big 8. And here's why. Because if you're in a group and people are having a conversation and you don't hear and you can't understand what they're saying, you can't follow the conversation, then you start withdrawing from it.
Wow.
Okay. And when you start withdrawing from it, you could just as well be at home watching reruns of I Love Lucy and watching your brain go down the drain. Okay.
That's good
So
to
hearing loss is a big issue.
Never heard of that one.
Okay. And then diabetes. Diabetes is like, I think some people call it Alzheimer's type 3.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
So being diabetic is not good.
Yeah.
So those are the big 8. So if you have issues in any of those areas, those are the things you need to be working on. Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting because if you start walking, you might want to stop smoking. It would take care of some of this midlife obesity. You may want to sit down and read a book, or you may listen to a podcast when you're so many of these things. The type 3 diabetes, if you take care of some of this gut section, I always like to refer to myself as a Wagyu ribeye. I'm very well marbled, and so that's not necessarily a good thing. But the moving, the walking, the thinking, the reading, the crossword puzzles, you guys do so many of these things. But what you're constantly doing is educating. I know every year you have a brain fair, and we're involved in that, and I think it's really important. And these are the types of things that you're teaching people. People need to know about your resource. I think there are too many people. I'm here, and because I'm so involved with the elderly and caring for the elderly, I know about your program. Right. But there are a lot of people who don't know, and I'm going to help to change that, I hope.
Well,
I think we all do, all the different things we do and that you do, and the county is very involved. Everyone knows what you're doing, and it makes a difference. But I will tell you this, if it wasn't for what I believe is your passion, the experience you've been through, you may not be walking this, and this program may not be what it is today.
Well, I mean, you have to have somebody that does that, is what it amounts to. I mean, Brenda Moss lived this, and she got this all started and got going. But, one person can't do this by themselves. Okay, I mean, it takes a whole team to do this.
Well, you constantly have doctors coming on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we come in, we just sit there as a booth and do blood pressures or this and that. But blood pressure is one of those aids, right?
It sure is.
And so there are things that and I'm a big follower of Dr. Andrew Weil. He's one of the godfather, if you will, of integrative medicine. So he went to Harvard Medical School, became a physician, and right away realized, man, this isn't probably the best thing. So he started going to other countries and seeing what are other countries doing about all these things, dementia, not just taking medicine. What can we do?
Right.
But some of the stuff that I've taken from him is that turmeric is an anti-inflammatory. So getting some of the inflammation off of your brain. But you know, he is a doctor, and he says, yeah, you can take turmeric, but you can also take a low dose of ibuprofen. But getting this pressure off of our brains, getting some of this inflammation off of us is extremely important. And you can also do that by walking. You can do that by increasing your levels of CoQ10. So getting some of the right supplements in is important as well.
Yeah.
And because all you're doing is trying to decrease the odds, the chances, because more than likely we're gonna get it. And I want to refer to your book, y'all's book, The Diagnosis Dementia, the Brazoria County Caregivers Guide. And this is so important that every caregiver should get it. We send it out to all of our caregivers because our caregivers are taking care of people with dementia. Maybe they don't have dementia, but the fact if they're not getting up and moving, the odds are increasingly in their favor that they're going to end up with dementia. So we want to slow this down. So you have been, for me, just an incredible resource. And knowing you personally, you know, has allowed me to follow you and what y'all are doing. But I want to talk about a couple of pages in this book, in this guide, if you don't mind. And again, this is based on experienced caregivers.
Right.
The first page opens up, Dear Caregiver. Over the last 18 years, we have met with several hundred people in Brazoria County who have just been told that their loved ones had some form of dementia. All of them were very emotional. I mean, you remember getting that. We just talked about that. Most did not know where to turn. Many didn't know enough about dementia to know where to start. If you have just been told that a loved one has Alzheimer's or a related dementia, and you are going to be the primary caregiver, we hope this booklet makes it a little easier for you. It is a starting place for your journey. The Gathering Place provides programs that will be with you every step of the way. Our brain camps, CompU Talk, Campfire, Culture Camp, and the Alzheimer's Awareness Project offer education about prevention, diagnosis, and treatment at classes, conferences, memory screenings, community presentations, and special events. I'm going to stop right there just for a second because all of these things like fire something off of my brain. A couple of years ago, it may have been 4 years ago, we were at a brain camp. And I was really stressed out. I was going through a lot. The business was growing, and I wasn't remembering anything. So I sat there and I took one of the tests, and they're like, no, there's nothing wrong with you as far as your screening. You passed everything, but you got to reduce your stress levels.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a big eye-opener for me because I really thought, I'm starting to forget meetings. I'm forgetting phone numbers, people's names. And it was really a high level of stress that I needed to get under control. And then if your family member is in the earliest stage of a memory disorder, he may qualify for our early stage coaching program where we will work intensively one-on-one to create new neural pathways to slow the progression of disease. Of course, all of our services are free. So thank y'all for that. And again, this is why it's so worthy to sponsor you guys. One of the big paragraphs that just sticks out to me is if you live long enough, chances are you will become a caregiver or one who is being cared for. At age 85, there's almost a 50-50 chance that you will have Alzheimer's disease. Women are hardest hit by Alzheimer's disease. They are more apt to be caregivers, and since they live longer, they are more likely to eventually get the disease. So it's almost a lose-lose situation for women.
Yeah, it's Yeah, it's a tough thing, that's for sure. And it's interesting because what we've, when Brenda started our respite socials in 2007, primarily all of the participants were actually women. They were older, and so maybe their daughter was taking care of them or something like that. But over the years, we've had more men show up in the groups. So, and in fact, right about now, it's almost, our population is almost about 50-50 of our participants that come to our social, stuff like that. So yeah, it used to be 80% of the caregivers were women, but now it's about 66%. And I mean, I'm one of them that was a male caregiver, and we have a whole bunch of them like that. But yeah, it's a tough thing.
Well, it is tough. And what happens a lot, we're in this very unique time where parents are getting cared for by their children who are in the process of raising their own children still. It is a very unique time that we're in. It's this sandwich phase that we're in right now. And so the caregivers are caring for their parents and caring for their children at the same time. And we've really not ever been there before, but we really have an aging population.
Oh, yeah.
And again, as this states, you make it to 85 years old, there's almost a 50-50 chance. So the only thing that we can really do is bring more awareness to this.
Right.
And that's what I'm hoping to do, is bring awareness that it's not a end all be all. There's something we can do right now. And with these nuns, we've seen that it's possible. When your wife was diagnosed with something, I don't even know if it was termed early onset dementia at that time.
It was.
Oh, yeah. And so she was very young when she started the symptoms.
And she died at 65.
And let's just talk about some of those things. We know we had 2 chromosomes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had that. Where was she in education?
She was a high school graduate, went to a little bit of college.
Okay.
She was overweight.
She was overweight. Okay.
She wasn't diabetic, but I mean, she was a stay-at-home mom, took care of all the kids, and she did work outside of the home after the kids got older, where she could do that. But it was kind of like that.
One thing that I want to really make sure people understand, whether you're 55 or 95, it's never too late.
Oh, no.
To start doing something.
Oh, no.
To start reading, to start exercising, to start eating right, to taking the supplements that help. CoQ10 is a huge thing. Again, turmeric for your inflammation on your body. And if you're taking turmeric, it's actually good for your joints as well. So there are some things that are available out there, but it's never too late.
No, and the best thing you can do for yourself, 2 of the best things you can do for yourself, first off, is jettison sugar in any and every form. Sugar is poison for your brain. It sets your brain on fire, okay? The second thing is you need to eat a low carbohydrate diet, because those carbs that you eat turn to sugar, and it fuels the fire in your brain, okay? So it's all about a low carb diet. It's about getting away from sugar. It's about staying active. It's about staying social. It's about learning something new every day. All of those things. Yeah. And you're never too old to do that stuff.
You're not. And sugar is poison. Whether it's for your brain or cancer. I mean, this is a food. It is the primary food for cancer. So getting rid of especially simple sugars, but being careful. Most people don't understand, potatoes are carbohydrates, but a russet potato is higher on the glycemic index than just simple table sugar. The second you put a russet baked potato into your mouth, it's dissolvable and usable as a glucose. And so, again, this is something else you can read and learn about every day. Let's learn about our diet. Let's learn about the things that we're putting in it. Yeah, these things taste good. I mean, carbs just taste good.
Well, they do. It's comfort food.
It is a comfort food, but we've got to beat that, if we want to make a difference here. And until you start caring for people all the time, on the daily, when it's your family members, it may not seem that important. But our whole goal here is to be a resource for seniors.
Right.
And you can start this as early as 18 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a stat that most people don't understand, but by the age of 25, we've lost 50% of our balance just from not moving. And I'm sure that number has skewed to maybe 20. I don't know that.
I don't know,
but more and more people are just sitting around and doing. So we got to get up. We got to get moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's important, whether it's Tai Chi, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know that these results are real, that all of these studies are real. So how do we go out to the community and say, let's move more?
Yeah.
Let's just start with that. Let's start with one of these things.
Yeah.
Because the moving more will cause you to want to eat better, right?
Yeah. It changed. You remember the pandemic?
Yes.
Well, when the pandemic hit, I had to shut down the office for a while. And so I actually walked every day from my house all the way down to Oyster Creek and back on Yopon. And then through Family Fitness parking lot and back around. And it was 3.5 miles.
I remember seeing you walking out there.
Yeah. And I did that every day. And I never felt better.
Right.
I mean, it was wonderful to do that. And
How old are you, Dale?
I am 72.
Yeah, but you don't. When you think 72, especially when I was younger and I thought 72, you're thinking, grandpa, you are an active person. You are in a band. You play an instrument. You drive a Corvette. I mean, you are not your typical 72-year-old. But people can be Dale. They can be an active 72-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
How do we get there?
Yeah.
You got to get out and walk. You got to move. And you will feel better. At first, you might not. A lot of apprehension, and I don't know if you even realize this, but I served as as injury prevention coordinator for all of Region 6 down here in the state of Texas. And one of the main causes of injuries for seniors is falling.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
It is, and it's a major. You break a hip, and you can almost say you're done. That's not necessarily the case anymore. But inactivity leads to a fear of falling, and so the number one cause of people falling really is inactivity. They're afraid to move. They're afraid they're going to fall. So there are things. You can walk with poles. You can walk with a cane. You can walk with a walker. We just got to get past that. And eventually we'll be able to move without those things. But we become so stiff from inactivity. Somebody called me the other day and said, I'm really struggling. I'm overweight. I don't know what to do. I don't have time. He's stressed out. He's just a little older than me. And I said, look, just do this for me. We're going to talk in about 2 weeks. But for now, I want you to walk 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day. And the other thing I told him was, be very aware of the sugar you're putting in your body. Most people think sugar, you put sugar in your coffee.
Yeah,
no, it's not that. Pasta is sugar. Bread is sugar. These simple sugars are what's killing our brain. And people just don't realize. People, industry people a long time ago wanted us to get all of this sugar in us. And we're paying for the price. These people in this age bracket right now, between 70 and 85, are really paying the price for that marketing that happened way back then. And now we realize sugar's an issue. And how do we combat that?
Well, and honestly, a lot of people, I guess, still do this. They want to count calories and worry about that. I don't worry about calories. I worry about carbs. Yeah. That's the only thing that matters. And so, you need to read the labels on food, okay? And you need to see what's in there, and you need to find the carb load on it. And so the lower you can get your carb load, the better off you are. So I don't even bother with calories. I don't care about calories.
I agree with you 100%. One of the simple things is if you can read that label, you probably don't need to be eating it. You know, that's truly, if there's a label on it, why are we eating it? You know, we need to stick around with the outside shelves at the grocery store. That's where they put the fruits. That's where they put the meats. That's where the eggs and the dairy are. And even milk, you know, if you look at milk as a carb, it's not one of the best things that we can put in our body. You know, one of my favorite quotes from Arnold Schwarzenegger was, milk is for babies, men drink beer. But even beer is a carbohydrate. And, you know, and we really have to, when you talk about the label, look at how many carbs are in a beer or in wine. And, you know, I like to have my wine. I really do. So you've got to balance that.
Well, see, the nice thing about wine is there's only 3 grams of carbs in a 5-ounce glass.
See,
now, if you drink the whole bottle, you're in trouble.
That's my problem is I open and
honestly, I used to drink Shiner Bock. I love Shiner Bock. But one time I read the label, and it was like 12 grams of carbs or something like that. So now if I drink beer, it's Miller Lite because it's only 3.
Yeah, there you go. And again, so there's nothing wrong with drinking. It's just trying to figure out read the label.
Yeah.
It's that get a little education every day. Every day, learn something. And if that is what you're learning every day, then you're going to make better decisions, better choices. That's right. And that's what a lot of this boils down to. You know, I want to talk a little bit about this book a little bit more, and we go into the types of dementia. And it says that dementia is an umbrella term describing the deterioration of mental functions that affect memory, thinking, mood, judgment, and ability to concentrate. The earliest signs usually include confusion, memory problems, and changes in behavior. Other early symptoms may be a change in gait or loss of smell. Now, this is the next thing I'm going to cover, then we're going to talk about it. There are more than 100 different types of dementia, and in the past few years, some researchers have identified subtypes. Alzheimer's disease accounts for about 60%, and about 20% of persons with dementia have the vascular type. So let's talk about that a lot. When we talk about the 8 different indicators, making a difference in those 8, will it make a difference in these 100 different types of dementia?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, all of those things are related to the symptoms, okay? Now, vascular dementia is where you have trouble with your blood vessels. Okay. But, you know, maybe you were a smoker and your blood vessels are having problems because you were a smoker. See, it's all related. It's
and
all
the
related.
hypertension is again, you know, and then you start having the plaques, and all of those different things relate to that vascular side.
So, it all.
So at one point, and I remember early on, you know, I've been a paramedic for 35 years now. So in the early 90s, if someone had a stroke, it was pretty much a death sentence. I mean, you wound up in a nursing home. Today, we recognize a stroke early on, I mean, really quickly, and we can almost have get into the right hospital with the right recognition. You can almost resolve the symptoms within 4 hours, which is incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible.
But we've learned a lot since then. Medicine has changed so much. One of the biggest thing we do for strokes, we do this for strokes and we don't do it for dementia, is we work on recognition. What are the signs? And there's all kinds of different things out there. There's fast, and there's, you know, is there a facial droop? Is there, you know, everybody is working on fast, and everyone's getting to recognize strokes, which we can now almost entirely reverse. Even if somebody has a hemorrhagic stroke, if they get to the right facility, there can be a clamp based on that artery internally going vascularly and stop that bleed. We couldn't do that 20 years ago. And so with all the recognition, with all the studies, dementia affects more people than strokes. We've got to start spreading this out there, getting everybody to understand it. And again, I hope that through people having this resource available to them, that they know, hey, they can go online, and we're going to put your website online.
Oh, yeah, good.
But people can go and they can get this book. I don't care if you live in Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
You can pull up this resource, and you can start reading about this, and you can find resources in your area to help you. But this booklet alone is incredible. And I want to talk about this chapter, this little paragraph. It's called "Take a Deep Breath." It says men and women approach caregiving differently, so their challenges will be different. Men generally want to fix their family member with dementia, and the frustration they feel before they realize that they can't fix it. This problem can be particularly devastating to men because we are fixers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so men, again, have to spend some time getting educated on being a caregiver and what that looks like,
Oh, yeah.
and understanding that there is help out there. You can actually bring someone to your organization, and they can participate in reading and doing puzzles and learning how to be a caregiver. It's important that we learn how to be a caregiver.
Oh, yeah.
Women who have been accustomed to deferring to parents and spouses will face difficult challenges as they struggle to assume control of their circumstances.
Right.
And then children who are caring for an aging parent may still have their own children at home, and many are still working. So there are a lot of different, how we're going to navigate this. We can go all over the place now because we have GPS and we can put it in the map. Well, this resource book is kind of like a little GPS.
Yeah.
It can help you navigate through all these different areas. Don't try to do this alone.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Don't try to do this alone. I mean, you serve Brazoria County, but I know there's got to be other places as well. But this resource that you have helped put together, that your organization, the Gathering Place, has helped put together, is one of the best things I've ever seen. It really is. And it's something I've been trying to create because mine doesn't, we don't deal just with dementia.
Right.
We have people who maybe they're hurt, maybe they're bedbound. There are a lot of different things we're in their home taking care of. But this gives me hope every time that I think of I'm bringing on a new family member and they're dealing with dementia. And I'm not necessarily always just taking care of the patient. I'm taking care of the caregivers,
Oh, yeah.
the family caregivers.
Yeah.
So my caregivers come in to give respite care, to give a break to the family member like we did for you, to give you a little break, to give this patient the dignity and respect and care that they need, but to also give you a little break so you can go get your hair cut. You can go get your nails done. Those things are still important. If you don't take care of you,
You can't take care of anybody else.
yeah, and you know all about that, and you took care of you, and you took care of your wife to the very end, and thank you for doing that. I my heart goes out to people like you. We do it for our parents. We do. We almost all step up and do it for our parents.
Oh, yeah.
But doing it for our loved one the way we're supposed to for our spouse, and happening way earlier than we think that it should have. You've been there, and as a healthy, responsible member in our community, you didn't just stop there.
Right.
You brought this out. You have really helped cultivate it. When you think about it, you didn't start the Gathering Place. You didn't. But I think you have been the CEO since like 2017.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think nowadays when we think of the Gathering Place, I think of Dale. When I think of somebody with dementia, somebody who needs help, but not just that, you brought different doctors, neurologists to the brain fairs
Oh, yeah.
so that they can help educate, so that we know there is more than just having this disease. There's a lot we can do today.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you keep pushing that, and you keep pushing that, and this book helps in that. So where can people find that information that you gave me?
Oh, well, basically, we talk about it in there, but they can find this out coming to our conferences. And we just had one in Alvin on June the 12th.
You did, yes.
And that the doctor there talked about the risk factors and how to reduce them and things like that. And that's and when Dr. Schultz comes to Alvin every other year, he has his statistics on what they're doing in research, but he's telling them you need to reduce these risk factors. Okay?
We do.
And so, yeah, we have all of that information at our conferences. We're having a caregiver workshop October the 30th in Angleton again. and Dr. Barnwell will be there speaking at that one. And but yeah, we have that information. It's all there. And if someone has a loved one who has a diagnosis, we'd love to have them come to our socials, okay? Because that's where we provide free respite. I mean, I don't want to cut into your
No,
business.
no, no. I
but
want you
it's
to.
free.
Believe
okay?
me. Believe me. I try to send my own clients to you because it's even respite care for my caregivers
Well, yeah.
who are doing this 24/7. Bringing them there gives them a break too, and it allows them to learn more about the disease and how we can be more helpful while we're caring for them. So let's talk about that. Please cut into it. Let's talk about showing up at the Gathering Place and what that looks like.
Yeah. So our socials, our Gathering Place socials that Brenda started back in 2007, which are the basis of everything that got started, it's a party. It's essentially a party. It's 4 hours where we have our trained volunteers that work with your loved one so that you can get away for 4 hours for free and do whatever, all the things you were mentioning before. And they sing, they do memory retrieval activities, they play games, they have lunch, they play bingo. Oh my God.
Yeah.
People love to play bingo. My wife hated to play bingo, but I haven't seen anybody other than her that hated to play bingo. They all loved to play bingo. And it's just a great time. It stops that social isolation for
Yes.
at least a while. And we have had many caregivers come back and tell us, Mom had the best time at the social, and she was happy the rest of the day. And in fact, she even woke up happy the next day.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
Makes
important.
a difference.
It does. It does. We sponsor bingos all over. Whether we're calling bingo, we're providing prizes. We see that it does bring that community together, and that's a big part of it. One of the fall prevention programs that I learned is called I can't think of what it's called now. I'm only one of the instructors for it in our entire community, but when we look at falls, we don't want to just teach people about balance. What we do in this program is we bring people together. And so it's a 12-week program.
Okay.
So in those 12 weeks, we're bringing people together, and it's simple stuff. It's not rocket science.
Right.
But we talk about little things that create falls. One of the first things that we talk about is throw rugs. And what do we do with throw rugs? We throw them out.
And we throw 'em.
And maybe it's one that's really important to you. So we talk about, hey, you know what? You can take that and frame it and put it on the wall if that's really that important to you. But we got to get it off the ground, because what happens is people start dragging their feet. They start dragging their feet, and they get caught, and they trip, and they fall. Now we've got a broken hip. The other thing that really causes a lot of falls is we have a lot of falls in the restroom.
Oh, yeah.
And it's typically because people can't get their walker or rollator or wheelchair into the bathroom. So, how can we prevent this? How can we help people get through the restroom? So, you talk about more and more narrow equipment to help them get through that. But again, we got to get people moving. So if we get them out of their house and get them to this fall prevention, get them talking to other seniors, get them to create some friends, if you
Right.
will, have some social life, all of that helps reduce all. And then we start moving again, and then they can start walking at the mall together. Again, it's taking care of a lot of different problems at one time. The more you move, probably, we're going to see a decrease in that blood pressure as well. We're going to see some of that stress level go down. So that creates a decrease in the blood pressure as well. So all of these things that are vascular, we can make a difference on those 8 big things. Again, if you're not smoking, don't start smoking.
No.
And if you are smoking, it's a great time to start trying to stop smoking.
Oh, yeah. No, and all of the things that that Brenda put together for what we do at our socials, those are all based on clinical trials that have shown over the years that doing those kinds of activities improves cognition.
It does.
Okay? And so we do that at our socials, and then we use those same principles only to a greater degree like in Brain Camp or Medicamp or our CompuTalk that we started during the pandemic.
Right.
And Campfire, which is reminiscing therapy for men with Parkinson's. So it's the same kind of things, and we just ramp it up is what it amounts
Yeah.
to.
No, it's really good. All the different things you're doing. There's no one fix for everything, but you guys have really, really come up with a way to not just care for the patient, but care for the caregiver.
Oh, yeah.
And that's huge.
It is huge.
People don't realize there is a thing of caregiver burnout.
Oh, big
You
time.
know, and I will say, as you know, Jackie that works helping.
Yeah.
Jackie cared for her mother, and one of her biggest regrets, you know, she's my number one person at Help Inc., is that she didn't allow the caregivers to come care for her mom. She did it, and she should have been more of a daughter and her caregiver, and that's a regret that we can run into. And let's not live with regrets.
Yeah.
Let's be the mother, daughter. Let's be the daughter. Let's be the son. Let's be the spouse. But let's get help, because if we're doing it begrudgingly or tired or not doing our best job, then we're not doing either person any good.
Yeah, and you know, honest to goodness, especially when you get older, if it's very likely, and I've known a lot of people this has happened to, that the caregiver dies before the patient does.
I've seen that a lot as well.
It happens a lot.
I've seen that a lot. We're actually in a home taking care of the person who needs caregiving, and then the spouse passes away, and there really wasn't a plan. So even in this guide, y'all talk about having a plan.
Oh yeah,
It's really important.
you have to have a plan.
You have to have a plan. I want to read this before we close out. It says, signs of caregiver stress. As a caregiver, you may be so concerned with taking good care of your loved one that you don't notice that your own health may be suffering. The Mayo Clinic warns that signs of caregiver stress include losing interest in activities you once enjoyed, feeling tired most of the time, feeling irritable, feeling overwhelmed, gaining or losing weight, sleeping too much or too little. There are all kinds of resources for caregivers. Don't do this alone. You're not in it alone. You know, I appreciate the Gathering Place and what y'all are doing. I try to make sure that we refer as many people as we can to you, and I hope that we will somehow be able to get more people to you. The Brain Camp is a 4-week, 8-hour program that teaches the primary risk factors for Alzheimer's disease. We need to get more people to it. And so we're going to work on that. We need to get more sponsors for it. And so we're going to continue to sponsor you and all of these things. If somebody wants to reach out to the Gathering Place today, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
Well, they can call the office.
Okay.
They can call me. Everybody in Brazoria County knows my phone.
Well, and we have actions and we have all these other programs. What's the phone number for the Gathering Place?
The office phone number is 979-308-4525. Okay. But you can go to our website, gatheringplacebrazoria.org. You can send an email to the office. It's office@gatheringplacebrazoria.org. You can send me an email, or like I said, call my cell phone. It's always on. It's right here.
It's always on. Well, we're going to put all of your resources on at the end of this so people know how to reach out to you, how to find you. I really appreciate you being here today. And, you know, we again are just striving to be like the one-stop shop to help people understand. This is a senior life podcast, and it's to really help caregivers, help family members to navigate this really difficult journey.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't have to be difficult, and you're never in it alone.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Dale.
Appreciate it.